Hey, what's up? This is Chosen, and this video is going to be a fun one. I'm going to be talking about the meeting I had with some of the Raid investors, talking about the different topics that were discussed, questions they asked me, and the back and forth of the discussions that were had. So let's get into it. Alrighty, so first of all, I was not the only one that was reached out to. There was a few people who got contacted via email, and I was one of them. Now, at first, funny enough, I thought it was a scam. Anybody who does content and has their email address out there in the public eye for hundreds and thousands of people gets a ton of spam emails. So I kind of, my first impression was that this was just somebody messing with me or some spam email, but I ended up responding, and it ended up being real. So that ended up being a good thing, and I'm glad that I did respond because I had a lot of fun, and I learned a lot by meeting with some of these people. So we had a good discussion. Well, actually, two discussions, because I met with them once, and that was a smaller meet and greet, about a 30 or 40 minute meeting where I met with one person, and they just kind of talked to me about what they do, what they're thinking, and got to know me, a little bit about me. And then we had just a casual discussion about Raid, what's going on, the sentiment of the community, and just kind of had a back and forth casual conversation. Then after that, a second meeting was lined up that was more of an official meeting, more of a conference call of about 10 people. I believe there was somewhere between like 7 to 10 of them and then me. So the way it worked is they gave me like a number to call and a password, and then I called in and put in the password to dial me into a certain line, and then there was like 10 to 12 of us on that line for a conference call, and they gave me a predetermined list of topics that I should be prepared to discuss, and these topics we're mainly revolving around what are the main issues, in my opinion, in Raid. That was pretty much the gist of it. So I had a few of like my top 5 issues in Raid that I was prepared to discuss. So when I outlined to them my top 5 issues in Raid, in my opinion, was content flow, public relations, the summoning system, the lack of duplicate system, and PvP. Now, obviously, there's other issues I could go into, like lack of books would be very high on the list. There needs to be a way for your free-to-play / low spenders to reliably feel like they have a chance to earn books. And I could go on and on for 2 hours. I mean, obviously, there's more than 5 issues. But in terms of 5, that was what I kind of articulated to them, was the content flow, which means that the content is way too sparse and far in between. There needs to be, this is 2020. There's hundreds, thousands of games, many of them free. This isn't 1996 where you can release a patch once a year and your players, you're not losing them to other games. There's just too many options. People have shorter attention spans. You gotta release content more than Raid currently is, in my opinion. It's just way too few and far between that we get new mechanics to actually explore in the game. And then the public relations, obviously I don't have to really go into this too much. If you've been in the Raid community or you've been watching my channel at all, you already know these things like Draco Gate, and then the recent example of them tweeting a clan boss record that was just flat out not true, and it would literally take them 5 seconds to get the right answer. They've got a creator chat with 50 high-level experts in the game. It would have taken 5 seconds to post in that chat and be like, hey, we're going to tweet about this being the record and just want to make sure that's correct. And they would have gotten 25 messages in 5 seconds. Like, no, don't tweet that. What are you thinking? That's not right. And here's the right answer. So, I mean, and I could give 100 examples until the sun comes up, but yeah, public relations was the second thing that I outlined and talked about. And then the summoning system and the duplicate system could kind of be mixed into one, but what I'm talking about in the summoning system, now, there is some things that Raid gets right in the summoning system, which is, I do like how it is very all or nothing. Pulling a champion is a big deal. Like, the clip of when I pulled Bad Alcazar and I was running around my apartment freaking out.
Come on!
Yes! Oh my god! Those moments don't happen if you slowly work up towards acquiring a champion. You can see them coming down the road. Those moments come from dopamine hitting you by, oh my gosh, I got so-and-so. So that part I like. That part is pretty good. The problem is there in the summoning system, there needs to be some sort of pity system or something. Like I do shard pulls for viewers on stream, and there's so many times where I pull like 185 ancients for somebody and they get nothing. They get no legendary. Like that shouldn't happen. They're like, after every 10 shards, your chance to get a legendary should be buffed or something. There's like some mechanic in there so that somebody's not just, I mean, because that type of stuff makes people quit. Like if they spend $100, $200 or something and they literally get nothing but chicken, like that type of stuff makes people either quit the game for a while, a month or two, or delete it, rage quit. There needs to be some sort of system built into the summoning in terms of helping people prevent these horrible long streaks. And then the duplicate system, that obviously I think we're all in agreement needs to be addressed. I could give you 1,000 examples of cool things for a duplicate system that would make it enticing to pull duplicate champions. That might even be a fun theory crafting video to bring somebody on the channel and do a collab and see if we can't think of some super interesting and fun duplicate systems that could be implemented. But obviously, we could all brainstorm and come up with 100 different ways that would make pulling duplicates cool instead of devastating like it is currently. There's very, very few champions that are worth having duplicates of, and especially in the end game, it's not very optimal. Now, 3v3 Arena was kind of designed to be a pseudo duplicate system, but that leads me into my last point, which was PvP. Now, there are so many issues with PvP. The Arena having so many inactive accounts, I stapled this point home to them. The first call and the second call, over and over and over. I was like, these new players need to be going up against new players, not people like me, not people that have 220,000 team power down in bronze 3 because they're inactive and these accounts fell down there. People do not like. That's very discouraging to be a new player. Your champion's level 40, level 50, and you're going up against people like me in the arena. That's very discouraging. It's going to cause people to quit the game. And I see posts on Reddit about it every day. I see people complaining about it in Discord. I see people raging about it on my stream and in my comment sections. That I drove home a lot in PvP is making the arena more fair and making it based off percentages instead of flat numbers. The 3v3 arena being flat numbers, and if some of you guys don't know what I'm talking about, let me pull up the arena here. Let's go to Tag Team Arena, and then if we go to the eye here, you can see that the player limit, 1,250 people in Gold 4? Why? That needs to be a percentage, not a flat number, because then it can't scale. It can't grow with the game. I'm already getting fired up. It's not because I'm mad. It's because I'm passionate. I want Raid to be the best game it possibly can be. So when I start talking about things, I can just feel myself kind of slowly building up and getting super passionate about it. But yeah, I expressed a lot of these issues around content flow, public relations, summoning, duplicates, PvP. Everything I'm talking to you about in this video, I had specific discussions with them about. And then after I made my points based on the predetermined list of topics they wanted me to be ready to discuss, we opened the floor to questions where these like 7 to 10 people could ask me questions, and I'll let you know a few of those that came up. One that I remember coming up is, why, in your opinion, has Raid been successful so far? And in my opinion, it is the aesthetics. Raid looks super cool. The champions look different than other games out there. I looked into like the next upcoming Gacha champion collector games, and they're all kittens and rainbows and anime and cartoons and colors and bright, and they're all the same. Raid fills a different role in the market, a different niche, and appeals to a different audience. The champions are so cool. If you just look at the aesthetics of the champions, they just look so awesome. They're not cartoony, they're not anime. They've got that medieval Diablo style of graphic to them. They're more catered towards adults and just more badass looking, and I'm looking for a better way to describe it, but I can't think of anything other than badass. Like, I still remember my first night playing Raid and going through the index and coming across Bad Alcazar and being like, oh my gosh, like, I hope I get this champion at some point. Look at this guy. And then lo and behold, a few months down the road, he's the channel art, or the concept of the channel art for my YouTube channel. So it's funny how things work out. But yeah, I think the aesthetics and the design of the champions and their kits and the simplicity to understand the game when you pick it up, while also having the complex mechanics like the clan boss and the later stages of the different dungeons. I think those are kind of the main reasons that Raid really filled a niche in the market and became successful. They also brought up the topic of if it's viable for companies to charge to download games, and in my opinion, it is not. I think those days are dead. In 2020, it just doesn't make sense, in my opinion, to charge money to download a game. You've got to make a game free to play. You've got to have a large player base. You want people playing your game, even if they don't spend money, because they talk about your game to their friends. They grow the community. Even someone who doesn't spend a single cent on the game progresses the game in a positive direction, recommends it to other people, provides more views to content creators. That all snowballs and snowballs and snowballs into a more successful game. So I think it's silly to charge to download a game, and I definitely told them that. And I'm trying to think, they also asked if gamers are more loyal if they spend money or not, and honestly, I don't think so. Like I know myself, I've spent thousands of dollars on Raid, and if a game came out tomorrow that was aesthetically pleasing like Raid and had more content than Raid and better developer support and better public relations, a better summoning system, I'm gonna try that game. I'm not gonna be like, oh well, I just can't try anything else because I spent too much money on Raid. Like, that would not be a thought in my head. I would totally be trying it, and Raid would be in jeopardy of losing me as a player. So after I expressed that, they followed that up with, okay, well, what does make gamers loyal to a game then? And I said community, progression, and content. Community. If the players feel like they are part of something, if they feel like they have people to interact with, and they can be a part of certain clans and objectives, and having a community that they can all build towards something and interact with each other. And also progression. If people feel like the time they're investing or even the money they are spending is progressing their account, are they getting somewhere? Are they better off this week than they were last week? When the sense of progression stops, that is when players will quit logging into your game and they will start looking for something else. And then also content. Like I said earlier, people have shorter attention spans, and you need to keep fresh content going to keep your game alive and well. So how often are you giving people new things to dive in, test out, theory craft, discuss, content providers to make content on, and topics to generate buzz in the community? How often is there new stuff for players to discuss together? Those three things are what I said keeps people loyal. That is community, progression, and content. But yeah, guys, I don't want to ramble for too long. I just thought it'd be fun to sit down and kind of discuss the meetings that I had with some of the investors behind Raid and talk about some of the things that were discussed and what I responded to them. Definitely let me know down in the comments if you disagree with anything I said. I really enjoy hearing different perspectives and learning and growing in terms of my knowledge as a Raid player and getting a feel for how the community thinks. And my opinion isn't always necessarily best, so I really enjoy reading other people's input. So if there's other things that I should have said or something that I did say that you disagree with, definitely let me know. I really enjoy reading that stuff. So even if I don't respond to every single comment, I do read about 90% of what is posted. I try to scroll through and read and get a sentiment of what's going on. So yeah, as always, thank you for watching. Have a good rest of your day. Peace.